Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is a ShPTK-TVP. It's a Tier 8 Czech tank destroyer, a premium. It's located on the north spawn of El Halluf, and this one is under the command of Mr. Lan. And we haven't seen him around for a while, but he's actually sent us in a few replays to have a go at. Well, this vehicle is the only Czech tank destroyer, so it's got a rather exclusive crew. But it does have a 100mm gun, which is capable of doing 250 alpha, and it's also got a fairly fast fire rate as well, because it will actually reload by the book in 5.18 seconds. And Mr. Land's got that down to 4.19. Now, it's a fully rotatable turret, so unlike some tank destroyers, which can only turn their turret from about 72 degrees either side of the center line. Well, I'm looking at the SU-130PM, of course, as the example. This one can turn the whole way around if it needs to. Now, what makes it so good is that fast fire rate, of course, because it can pump out the rounds fairly quickly. The alpha's not particularly high, but it is fairly deadly when it comes to unloading the damage. It doesn't have a huge amount of pen. You can see here with the standard shells, it's capable of going through 270mm of armor and reasonable good shell velocity. With the heat rounds as its secondary, it's actually capable of going through 330mm of armor, just in time to get a shell into that T32 for 235. This is first damage of the game. Now, this is actually two replays back to back, because he had a particularly good evening in the what other people have called a rude word. Yes, they call it a shush pack. Yes, I think you know what I mean. But we actually call it the Shrek. The reason we call it the Shrek, he pumps one in and bounces the shell that comes from the bat chat. He does take one round, but the bat chat's taken two in return. And now he's a one-shot. Yes, so some people have called it the Shrek. It's a bit ugly in some ways, so you might say that Shrek is a good name for it, but it actually came from the actual name, which was ShPTK. The TVP bit, well, it's actually based on a TVP hull. They started work on this in 1945, and yes, Mr. Land's got a bit of the innie outies at the moment. That's why he's playing with his mouse whilst he is driving along. Yes, it's started by the Military Technical Institute, BTU, and the project was actually taken over and continued by Skoda.
Watch out! Retreat!
Okay, well, 66 rounds of ammo, plenty of ammo to play with. Now, he's pulled all the way back here because he could see something that the other guys couldn't see, is there are enemy tanks who've managed to make their way up on the south side of the north side, you might say. I say because obviously this is the southeast corner of this side of the valley. Now, the reason I wasn't looking in that direction is, of course, if a player does an innie outie, I'm going to be in free camera to avoid the viewers getting motion sickness. And you can see he's firing a few rounds in at the enemy from where on the mini-map he can actually see they might be. His teammates are telling him where the enemy tanks are, and he's using the map to actually shoot the rounds in. But he spotted these guys coming in. He wipes out one of the Progettos, but there's another Shrek on the enemy team, and he's now entered the cap. Now, we were seen, so he is expecting us to come around the corner. He does pump one into us. We return one, which goes over his engine deck, which is not so good. But remember, we're the only ones fighting him around this corner, and Mr. Land is an expert, so he's allowing this guy just to get close enough so he can actually do sufficient damage. Well, we did take one round there, and we're going to fire another one in, and yes, got the kill shot. Now, the thing about this tank is it doesn't have great gun depression. That's why that enemy Shrek could not get his gun to bear as he was coming over that rise. It's only 6 degrees of gun depression. So unless you are in protection like here, where you've got the bush between you and the enemy, going over that rise would actually expose you to fire before you could actually get your gun down to bear. And that's why that Shrek died, you see. He made the big mistake of trying to engage Mr. Land when Mr. Land had the advantage of the ridge line in his favor. Now the enemy started capping again. Bad decision. He should be trying to use his gun depression to get up here and take out Mr. Land, but he's not doing so. Mr. Land is one shot. So of course he's trying to make sure that he gets a definite pen. Okay, that guy's a 2 shot. You can see he has decided to come after Mr. Land. Mr. Land again having problem with that 6 degrees. Gets 1 round in, pulls back before the return shot can come in. And now that guy is a definite 1 shot. Mr. Land is going to try and change position if he can to get a side shot on that guy. Or at least to force him to use his gun depression and then try and take him out from a position of safety. He's actually got the wreck in his favor here, so he can use the wreck instead. The enemy's gone over the top of the hill, and hello, got the rear of his turret. The bustle takes the round. Now, it's 2 versus 2, whilst he's been over here playing with the enemy tanks that tried to go for the cap. Our guys have been decimating the enemy on the other corner of the map, but unfortunately now he is the only guy on his team left alive. So he's up against 2. He's got a Progetto and a GW Tiger P to wipe out. Now, yes, he's still doing the innie-outie thing, but he's going to try and put the game in his favor by gaining height so he can shoot down on the enemy. Now, as I said, he only has 6 degrees of gun depression, so that is going to be a disadvantage. And yes, he's still doing the innie-outie thing. Please don't do that, because it really upsets a lot of the viewers, and they can't watch your video if you keep going in and out, because they'll find it disconcerting. And that forces me to use free cam, and we miss out on the action. Okay. Well, no sign of the Progetto. He's the biggest worry, really. The GW Tiger P, really not a concern. It's very slow, Arty. He could have the big gun. He could have the 21 centimeter. But if he does, he has a very long reload. And Mr. Land is doing the innie-outie too much, so we've gone to free camp instead. I'm sorry about that, but now we could miss some action simply because he's going in and out all the time. I know it's a habit for some top players that they like to play with the mouse whilst they're playing the game. It's a nervous reflex, I think. It's very, very disconcerting for those people who get motion sickness, so please don't do it. Okay, the gun is the BS3 gun. It's a 100mm. It was the only gun that the tank was given, well, the project was given. There was no prototypes of this tank destroyer ever made, so that is the gun that they selected, and they didn't test it or anything. It does have excellent DPM though, and the fully rotating turret does make a big difference. Mobility makes a difference as well. It's got a top speed of 55 kilometers an hour. Now he's anticipating that the enemy is going to be somewhere around this region, the GW. No, he's not. Okay, he could be behind the rock. Don't think so. Oh, there he is. Been popped up. Now he knows he's been seen now. One shot goes in and he picks up 424. It's a high roll because he used the HE and he's out the game. I didn't mention the HE actually. I should have done so. Yes, the HE rounds, if I can get the... Yes, he's doing the innie-outie thing again. Please don't. Okay, 420 alpha, 100mm of pen, which is quite a lot, really. And he's still doing the innie-outie thing. You really are testing our patience, Mr. Land. He's also holding the gun in the wrong direction. Although a lot of players do hold their gun in just one position by holding down the right-hand mouse button to lock the turret in that direction. Ideally, what you should be doing is whilst transiting, unless you know an enemy is going to be popping up from a particular angle, you just work with the go with the flow. That is, you just look in the direction and let the gun travel in that direction. Because if you're going to see a new enemy, it's possibly going to pop up in front of you. Okay, we know where the enemy is. He's in our cap circle. And he doesn't know where we're going to pop up. But he does know that we were across the valley. So we're going to use these bushes to our advantage. Remember, we are a one-shot, so the enemy could wipe us out if he does. And there he is. Pop back. Puts one in, gets the reset. And second one in. Running for cover. Couldn't get the third one in. Now, he knows where we are, but now would be a good time to relocate and pop up in a different spot. And he's going to do that. He's moving as far back as he can. And there we go. He's popped up. Now, did we get seen? Yes, we did. Okay, so we're basically showing ourselves to the Progetto, who might decide to fire a 90mm round. He did, and he failed. And there's another shot. He's now one shot. Or no, he's a two shot for our 100mm gun, sorry. Technically, he could fire the HE rounds. He could use the HE rounds because they do have enough pen to get through a Progetto. That's one of the things you do have to remember with this tank is that HE does have unusually high pen. Oh, got spotted again. Pull back. Yes. 100mm of pen is a lot for an HE round. It would be just like the Progetto to come around the corner, try and outflank us. Oh, now this is a difference. I hope he's not planning on capping in the enemy cap and hoping that the other guy was going to come to them. We've only got a couple of minutes to go. Oh, he's doing the inny-outy thing again. And again, he's locked off his turret, facing the enemy, facing where he thinks the enemy's going to come from, which I think is a good decision if you know that the enemy is in that direction. Oh, and he's found him! Fails to get that one in, but he should be able to beat the reload, and yes, he gets the second one in. The guy's a one shot. Take him. Fails to get him with that shot, but there's the 2 minute or the 2 minute mark. And that's the game. Nicely done. Wins the game. But for the inny-outy thing, it was great. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was an ace tanker game for Mr. Lan in the ShPTK-TVP, or Shrek. He also got his second mark of excellence out of that game, as well as a fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills. He actually ended up with 5, one short of getting a Top Gun and 1/3 of the enemy team. He got a fire for effect for doing more damage than hit points to his own vehicle. He got a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 5 exactly. He got the high caliber for dealing the most damage in the game. And he got a defender for resetting the cap and getting at least 70 defense points in the process. And his win rate was 11,418 out of that one, which is super unicum and quite a bit more. In fact, it was Mr. Lan's decision to actually return to his cap area that saved the game for his teammates, because if he had actually tried to return from the northeast corner after the enemy had actually started capping, they would have expected him to appear from a particular direction. He probably would have got shot at from 2 different tanks at the same time and possibly would have gone out the game. The armor on this vehicle isn't particularly strong. It's only 65mm at the front, 40 on the sides and the rear. So he would easily be penetrated by any tank that definitely get a shot on him. Anyway, let's have a look at team score and see where he was. Well, he definitely got the highest damage, 4,844 hit points of damage. Second highest damage went to the IS-3A on his team with 3,845. 46, sorry, and 3,043 went to the GeForce 1008. When it came to kills, we can see the highest number was Mr. Lan again, 5 kills to him, but 3 kills went to the SU-130PM, the Progetto 46, and in joint third place, we've got the IS-3A, the GeForce, the FV4202, and the Progetto on our own team. And on the enemy team, they've got their Scorpion G and Progetto 46. So he definitely got the highest number of kills, highest damage, and he got the highest base XP as well. So he's got the top in all 3 columns. 1,532 base experience points, 1,240 went to the IS-3A, and 1,031 went to the GeForce 1008. 28 shots fired, 19 direct hits on the enemy, and 18 penetrations. He fired a few shots which were at the wrong angle and they didn't get pens. And of course, he was firing more than a few blind at the enemy from right across to the northwest corner of the map without actually seeing where he was aiming, because of course he was just using the mini-map to try and adjust his aim. 1 splash damage on the enemy as well. 4,844 hit points of damage, of which 1,188 were at more than 300 meters. So most of it was at close range. 4 hits received, 3 penetrated, 1 non-penetration, and 170 hit points of damage blocked by armor. 1 enemy vehicle spotted, 7 enemy vehicles damaged, 5 killed, and he got 73 defense points when he reset the Progetto sitting in the cap. Now, he actually earned 118,134 credits from that game, and that was including a 55,000 credit mission completion. And despite using, mostly standard ammo, but he did have the consumables as well. So, again, that was an expense. He got 25 bonds for a mission achievement, and he also took away 2,528 experience points out of that one as well. So, a very good game, but the next game, well, that was pretty astonishing too. And you're about to watch that. So, let's have a look. Here's the next battle, and this battle started 18 minutes after the first one started. Okay, north spawn of Cliff. You can see he's proudly wearing that second mark of excellence. Now, actually, the vehicle that you're actually seeing, or Skoda was working on at the time, was a self-propelled gun. They were counting tank destroyers back then as self-propelled guns. Tries to get a shot on the guy before he pops up. Unfortunately, he manages to get up onto the donut without getting hit. But no other tanker is going to be able to make it up there without getting around through him. And he's just popping backwards and forwards. Oh, got one. Yep, got the engine bay. Nice, tracked the guy at the same time. Was spotted, but he pumps a second one in to the A43. Go for a third. And he gets the third one in. Took that one in the tracks. And somebody's come down to help the A43, but he's out the game. And we've just seen that one of the enemy tanks did get attacked up on the donut by one of ours. Just on the rise to the donut, there was another enemy dead. Okay, so we took a couple of rounds, but they were only minor ones, so at least that was in our favor. So, first kill for Mr. Lan. Now, it is an open-top vehicle. It is kind of long, as well as slightly thinner than you normally see. It's a good target for Arty to hit, because you're more than likely going to get a penetration if you see one of these. So do look for Shreks, because they would make good targets to hit. You might not get in through the front of the vehicle, but if you hit the rear or the sides, more than likely it's going to go in. And such a big, long cockpit, again, invites those artillery shells to go in. Now he's going all the way over to the center line, because of course he's going to try and engage the enemy. in his favor. Remember, only 6 degrees gun depression, so he really hasn't got the gun depression to work that ridge line. And I think what he's going to do instead, he's going to go around here and engage the enemy from a different direction. Of course, he doesn't have to use gun depression over here. Well, not much. Notice that, yeah, because he has to go up quite a bit to get the gun to bear. You can see that that guy's going to move through the gap. Pumps one into the engine bay. Nicely done. But he did get spotted. Tries to go for another one. He gets it on the Skoda. It's the T56, the tier 8. Can he get another one? He can just about... He's in cover because of the branches. And the guy's backing up towards us. He really doesn't know what he's doing. And he's out the game. So that's his second kill. Okay, he's using the ground in his favor. Oh, we want that. That's a Scorpion. Yes. Come on. He should be using the HE. Actually, he is using HE to maximize his damage. Gets the kill. That's his third. Working it. Really working it. I think he got into his... he got into a nice rhythm. He's still using the HE on the... He's just got the Comet as well. Yeah, because as I said, it's decent pen for an HE round. 100mm, even a Comet's going to be viable. So it is one of those tank destroyers you could actually consider carrying a larger amount of HE rounds. Okay, well, what's he got up there? Govika and a Hellcat. The Hellcat, yes, he can fire HE, and he is... Oh, get out of the way! What a fool! And that's his 5th kill. Pumps one into the T25-2. I hope our teammate doesn't... He does! Drives straight back in front of us. Luckily, we didn't hit him. Otherwise, that would have disqualified us. And that was a really nasty thing for the person to do. They could see that they were moving back. Oh, he takes the guy out. Take out the KV-1S. He's decided to come down the cliff the hard way. He's got 7 kills now. He's got himself a Top Gun. And that guy goes down. So now he's going the T29 by the rear. Gets one in. He's firing the standard AP. Pumps one in. Takes a round. Luckily, it was only I think it's a 105mm, that one. He's got the Top Gun. But he does have a low, slow reload. You remember? Pumps another one in. Can kill this guy with next shot. Yes! That's a Radley's. There's... Oh, that's it! The game's over! He's done it! Here's the end of battle stats. And that was another ace tanker game for Mr. Land in the Shrek. He managed to get a duelist this time for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him. Fire for effect for doing more damage than hit points for his own vehicle. Bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits in this one. He got 10. He got a Radley Walters medal. He killed 8 of the enemy. The T-29 was the last enemy tank. And because he had the 105mm, he had an extraordinarily long reload time. It does have a big punch, the T-29. But when you have the 105mm, it's very, very slow to reload, and you can get beaten by tanks with better DPM. And I'm afraid, yeah, the Shrek does have a better DPM than the T-29, and that's why you could take him down. It also got the high caliber for dealing the most damage in the game, a Top Gun for getting at least 6 kills, and he got a tank sniper for doing most of his damage at a distance of 300 meters or more. His win rate from that game, 11,406. And if we recall the previous game, 11,418. So his win rate is very consistent and consistently high. Let's have a look at the team score. Highest damage, 5,846 hit points. Second highest damage was the Skoda T56 on his team with 4,134. That guy got the Confederate. And the third highest damage, well, that actually went to the enemy Skoda with 2,278 hit points of damage. The AMX 12 ton, by the way, he got a scout in that game for spotting more of the enemy than anyone else on our team. At least 9 tanks to start with. When it came to kills, we can see Mr. Land got 8. The next highest being the T-3485 on our own team and the Skoda T-56 on the enemy team, 2 kills apiece. And when it came to base XP, he's the only player to get over 1,000 base with 1,695. The next highest scorer being the Skoda T56 on his team with 976, followed by the AMX 12 ton, who did a lot of spotting and got 965. Yes, there it is. 3,151 hit points of spotting in that game. And of course, the Scout medal. So very well done to him. So, yes, these were the top players in that game, and Mr. Lamb was right at the top of them. 28 shots, 25 direct hits, but only 20 penetrations. Some of the shots he was firing, yes, didn't actually go through. 5 splash damages as well, 5,846 hit points of damage, of which 2,892 were up more than 300 meters. So you can see more than half his damage was actually from the long range. 9 hits received from the enemy, only 5 of which actually penetrated, and a lot of those were low caliber guns, so he was lucky. The A43 was the low caliber, so that's why he only took a small amount of damage from that guy. And 4 non-penetrations. Most of those shells actually hit the tracks. This is a long, thin tank, the Shrek, and so the chances of you hitting the tracks are slightly higher than on other tanks, where they've got plenty of body to actually aim at, or plenty of chassis, I should say. 255 hit points of damage blocked by armor, 10 enemy vehicles damaged, 8 killed, and 519 hit points of spotting assist. I think they're all damage assist. He earned 99,916 credits profit from the game. Again, had to pay for consumables and did fire a few alternate rounds in the game, but that was only because he needed the pen. He also managed to earn 2,796 experience points out of the game as well. So if you do come up against Mr. Lan in the Shrek, be very, very afraid, because he might do a lot of damage to you. He may not have a lot of gun depression, but he does have the GPM to do a lot of damage very quickly in a long run. So yes, Shreks are valuable tanks on your own team, but they are glass cannons in a way, because of course they don't have much in the way of armor. So if you do get hit by an enemy round, it's going to go through. It's probably going to do a lot of damage. The only good thing in their favor is they do have at least 1,150 health hit points to start with, so they can take a couple of big rounds without actually being out of the game altogether. But if somebody in a Scorpion or a Waffle tries to out DPM you, you need to run for cover quickly as possible, because you could take some serious damage in the long run. Hope you enjoyed both of those games by Mr. Lan. Interesting to see 2 aces back to back, and to get 2 win 8s, almost identical in each one, and to be the focus of the game on both teams. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a like, do subscribe to our channel, leave a little comment down below, because it feeds the algorithm, and thank you for watching.